I don't know about you, but if you're a gardener, you get into such trouble when you walk in the house with dirty feet. So to save me all the drama, getting shouted at, getting into trouble, with the government, I have made a shoe cleaner. It works beautifully. It works so well that I'm going to show you how to make one today. Really nice and easy. So what you're going to need is the following. For your mix, a bag of screeding sand, which is actually very, very fine river sand, and the equivalent of cement. Now that is going to make your mix, which is going to hold your 2 scrubbing brushes. So you need 2 scrubbing brushes, and you need some screws, which are going to hold those in place. Of course, once you have done that, you're going to need your mold, and your mold is whatever size you want. And then finally, your paintbrush. You're going to need some cooking oil, which is your releasing agent, and your Woodok 45 cement sealer. Right guys, for our mold, we've used simple, cheap offcuts of some shutterboard. What is important is that whatever you do, it must be square. Okay, so what we have gone with for our 2 scrubbing brushes that we chose, and obviously this guy has to be bigger than the length of these. In our case here, these brushes are about 28 centimeters in length. So the size of our base is 350 by 350, so it's square. All that we've done is we've cut pieces of shutter board. The 2, which is this, the shorter sides, which fit inside here, you can see nice and snugly, they are 300 by 70. And then your other 2, nice and easy, these over here, 350 also by 70. And all that we need to remember, and this is why the 70, if anything, is the important number that you've got to remember, is so that when we do place them in here, they've actually got somewhere to sit. Because remember, we're going to be filling this mold with our screeding mix. So we almost want them to levitate, sit there. So how do we get that right? Very simply, is we're going to take these little bad boys and we are going to pop some screws into them. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The trick is to get them the same level. They are then going to make out as little feet, then just to hold it at the right height. So grab it there, secure the boy key, and then let's get them in. So in our trug, we've got one of the small bags of fine river sand. Into that, we're going to make a little hole in the center, and we're going to add half a bag of dry powder cement. You're going to mix that in really well. You want it really mixed beautifully so it's of even consistency. That's number 1. Once you've done that, apron on, because now you're going to start adding the water. Please, less is more. Do it little bits at a time. You'll notice I'm using a watering can. Yep, and then you want to mix. Our end consistency that we're looking for is a thickish yogurt. Right, we're now ready to put in our first amount of mix. And you can just use that with the truck, just pour a bit in. You want to get in probably about 2 or 3 centimeters so that you've got a base to be able to put your scrubbing brushes back in. Once you're happy with the level that you've got to, and remember we spoke about the level that's just over the edges of the wood, you are then going to place 2 bricks, 1 brick on each of your scrubbing brushes. Pop the bricks on, leave it there, and then we're going to take a rubber mallet and we're just going to tap it. And what that does is it gets rid of any air pockets and it smooths off that surface, that top layer. And then all that's left to do is wait for it to dry. And that'll be about 2 days. All right, guys, like any good gardening show, we made one before. This guy's been curing for over a week, so he's good to go. Remember I said to you earlier, 1 to 2 days, but of course the color of the cement will tell you. So all we're going to do is take 2 sides of the mold off. That's all we need. Okay, guys, and we can then slide this big boy straight onto here. So here we go, bit of a tap tap. I say. Right, folks, now that it is dust-free, and this is very, very important, must be dust-free, mustn't be wet and free of any oil, right? We are going to be sealing it, and it's important to seal it. Why? Because it's going to make it last longer, and what's probably for me is the most important is that it's going to give it a slick finish. It also stops eventually mold and all of that stuff growing onto it. Even if it does, it's really easy to clean off. So what I've got here is Woodrock 45. It's a tile and cement sealer. It needs a minimum of 3 coats, depending on the porosity of what you're applying to, because some things won't suck it all up and others will. Once you're happy that your first coat is on, you are going to stand back, allow it to dry to the touch, then apply your second coat and your third coat. Remember, the beauty of the sealant product is that there's no other prep in between. There's no having to sand, it's simply straight on it goes. And this little container is going to do a whole lot more sealing for me in the future. Guys, so our 3 coats of sealer are on. Finally, we are good to go, and probably the part that I love the most is that it is a matte. It's not glossy, it's not glitzy. It's got to look a bit old and whatever, because by the time my shoes end up on it, well, it's going to look way different to this. Now, all that's left for me to do is find the most appropriate place outside my front door where I can give this baby a good test run.